Good morning. Today we are going to be talking about the desert. So we've touched on some of our other biomes already. The desert is a very interesting place. We have some in the United States. They're also scattered around the world. Um, they don't have a lot of plant growth, yet they still have animals that live there. They have to be very special to be able to survive in the desert, but it's a place that we need, even though it doesn't flourish like the forest and the rainforest. It's still a really awesome place. So, some of you may have been to a desert in the United States. Um, if you have, that's awesome. But a lot of times we don't get to visit places like this. And so I really want you to dig and dive into study jams and watch that video again on the desert. There's also a really good magic school bus video all about the desert. So don't think you're too old to watch Magic School Bus. It's a great video. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube and you can watch it on your Chromebook. Um, you might be able to find it on uh, something that you have on TV. I don't know if it's on Netflix or whatever, but uh, just look for that. It's just the desert uh, on the Magic School Bus, so it's a really good one. So watch that. It talks a lot about the climate and the animals that live there and the different plants and how everything kind of works together. So I do want to read a little bit out of our desert book from the classroom. So I'm going to do that in just a minute. Before I do, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. So the desert, when we think of the desert, we normally think of it being really hot and dry, and that's true. Most of the deserts are really hot and dry, but you have to remember that there's also things called the cold desert. So I want you to go on Blue Planet Biome or other websites, and I want you to look up cold desert and see if you can make a comparison, comparing and contrasting the hot and dry desert versus the cold desert, and what kind of animals and plants you might find in the different places, and what the climate's like, also how they're different. So here are a couple of different plants and animals that you would find in the hot desert, the hot and dry, because that's the one that we normally think about. So we have tortoise, we have um, owls and antelopes, we have kangaroo rats, and if you don't know what these things are, make sure you look them up, so that you can put a visual to their names. We also have a barrel cactus, so you're going to find a lot of different kinds of species of cactus that live in the desert. And I'm going to read in just a minute and explain why we find that certain kind of plant in this certain type of area. The brittle bush. We also have pumas, those are animals, um, tumbleweed. And then as far as rain goes, so we've been talking each biome about how much rain that biome will receive. So far the rainforest is going to get the most amount of rain, and then the grassland got less than the rainforest, for sure, but it still had a good amount of rain. Um, in the desert, you're only getting 15 to 26 centimeters. So before we were talking in inches, now we're talking in centimeters per year. So you've got about 2.5 centimeters per inch. So you're talking a maximum of maybe 13 inches of rain for the entire year. Well, what do we know needs rain to survive? Plants. And if we want any kind of animals living in that area, you have to have plants, to for them for food. So these plants are extremely special that live here in the desert because they can survive on very little amounts of rain. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of pages from the book, and also we'll show you some pictures because this book is really awesome. Hopefully you had some time in the classroom to be able to grab these and look through them and read a little bit of it. So it says each biome has different type of climate. The climate is an area, usual pattern of weather over a long period of time. Every biome is a home to a special group of plants. The plants are well suited to live in that biome's climate and to grow in the soil that's found there. So, what kind of soil do you think we're going to find in the desert? Really good soil for growth or not so good soil? Right? It's not going to be nice and moist because of all that rain. It's going to be dry soil, so it's going to be hard for plants to grow there. Every biome is also home to a special group of animals. In one way or another, the animals depend on those plants to survive. Many of the biome's animals eat those plants. Other animals eat plant eaters, so we've talked about that. So if you are a consumer and you're eating plants only, you are a herbivore, right? And if you're eating meat, so other animals, you are a carnivore. And if you eat both, omnivore. Very good. All the plants and animals in the biome form a community. So we've talked about that before. When I get all the plants and animals that live in one place, they're now a community, just like we're a community, right? You've got the Glenwood District and Nebo and North Cove and PG, but we all are McDowell County, so we all make a big community. In that community, every living thing depends on other community members for its survival. A biome's climate, soil, plants, and animals are all connected in this way. So there's a picture of the desert. A lot of times when we think of the desert, we think, let me show you a picture. We kind of have this in mind, right? And some deserts do look like that, but most deserts have some type of plant growth. So it's going to look more like this page. Deserts have a very dry climate. They do get a little rain, but it doesn't come regularly. One storm might drench a desert with several inches of rain in just a few hours, but it might not rain again for months or even years. So those inches that we were talking about, those 13 inches that we were talking about, you might get 6 at one time, but then it's not going to rain again for months. So you have to think. So this is a picture of before the rain and after the rain, because right after a rain, everything kind of grows. And so what's going to happen to these plants? Well, they've got to try and hold that water for a really long time, or else they're going to die before the next rain comes. So they're built and they've adapted, and they're specially made for the desert. Some deserts are cold, but most are hot. During the days, hot deserts are the hottest place on Earth. Clouds are rare in the desert sky, so we're not going to see those cumulus clouds, those cirrus clouds, those stratus clouds, right? Because especially stratus, because they bring a lot of rain, so they're not going to have a lot of stratus clouds. And our cumulonimbus clouds, remember, are those big thunderheads, so they're going to come very on occasion. They're not going to be coming every week or even month. That's going to be very rare. There is nothing to block the sun's scorching rays. So remember, in the rainforest, we had all those layers of trees, and so by the time you got down to the forest floor, you had all that shade above you from the canopy and the emergent layer, but in the desert you don't have big trees like that, and so the sun is just beating down right on the ground. But when the sun goes down, the deserts cool off quickly. Nighttime temperatures can be freezing cold. So you can see different plants here, your cactus. You do have some trees. For my poster, I had the Joshua tree. So you find some, but they're not going to be lush with leaves and all of those things. So here are some more different types of cactus that you may find. Just show you some pictures. Lots of rocks, lots of abiotic factors are there as well. So not just living. Let's see if I can find some animals here. So here's our tortoise. You can see we even have some flowers. So when do you think we might see those flowers the most? Probably right after a rain, right? We've got some birds, different species of birds all living together. Owls, crickets, different types of lizards. This is the horned lizard. I know we have some friends out there who are into these lizards and reptiles, right? We've got rabbits, but they're not all going to be the same species of rabbits that we would find here. So they're special species that have adapted to this type of climate. And honestly, they wouldn't really survive anywhere else. That's what they're used to. So we kind of feel bad because we're like, man, they don't get a lot of rain. Those poor plants. But honestly, if you took a cactus and gave it a bunch of water, it would die because it's not used to having so much water all the time. So don't feel bad for the desert. Okay, they are thriving and they have plants and animals, and it's a whole ecosystem and biome out there. So if you ever get the chance to visit a desert, please do. All right, so go ahead and go on Study Jams again. Maybe rewatch that biome video and check out the desert part. Try and find that Magic School Bus video. It's really fun. You get up in the morning, eat your breakfast, and watch Magic School Bus for 30 minutes. Okay, it's a really good one. All right, well, I will see you tomorrow, and we'll be talking about another biome.